So yeah, guys, we're just gonna. Marissa will jump in with topics, but we can
Cool.
talk about whatever. We don't, we can just.
Oh, are we starting?
It's
Is this
fine
it?
to freewheel. It's fine to just. All right. Find whatever you're interested in talking about.
All right.
Oh, and everyone has to go into airplane mode.
Yeah. Oh
Mm.
yeah. Everybody airplane mode.
It's funny. I can hear someone's phone right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was double checking mine because I turned it off and I turned it on. So
Yeah.
that's probably what happened.
No, yeah,
Alright.
isn't that crazy? Like you literally hear the second you hear
Yeah.
that.
It's nuts.
I think like you ever have like cell phones ring, like you have the certain kind of speakers. The second before your phone rings, you hear like a fluttering.
Oh, absolutely. My dog hates the phone and she'll know before the phone's about to ring.
Yeah, it's crazy. They hear the signal.
3. Oh shit.
Oh, how do I pronounce your last name?
Walkowski.
Walkowski. Okay.
I tried so hard to figure out a way of wording a joke about you being Polish because only strippers touch you.
Built like a pole.
And I just. Oh, yeah, I told you that because everyone was like, he's too jacked.
And it just sounds like a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Kind of is. Strippers love him.
He spends a lot of money.
We should have made the show Portmanteau.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a fun name. Portmanteau. People are like, what does that mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's listen to that show.
Just a deep dive on Natalie Portman every week.
Every single week.
Every week we have to come up with a new.
Can you do 2 hours a week on just Natalie Portman every week? 2
I mean,
hours?
I could.
She's had a storied career.
And every week you have to come up with a new word pun using Portman to make it a portmanteau.
Yeah, yeah.
She has. I mean, here's the thing about Natalie Portman. She's easily the hottest Jew alive.
She's up there.
She at one point was definitely the hottest Jew in the world.
I agree.
And that little.
I don't think anyone could dispute that.
Don't
say-
sell yourself short.
Thank you. I will
I
say
see you
this.
drinking spinach juice over
Yeah.
there. You're good. You're gaining on it.
Her when she did like V for Vendetta was like that's when she did the SNL episode with the rap song.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I didn't love the rap song, but I thought she was like ridiculously hot in it.
I agreed.
She's a great actress, too. I mean, she's a great performer.
I agreed when you called her the hottest Jew in the world, but I thought you were talking about the professional.
That's 94.
nice.
She's a little young.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a bit.
Oh,
She's
so
a little
stupid.
young.
I'm a-
She was 12.
I'm
she's
a
hot.
pedophile.
The fact that you knew what year it came out, that bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw that movie on a date.
Ooh, how
Like,
what?
and the girl was like, here's the funny thing about actually, I should tell this on the air. But the date, I just now realized something about that date. So I went on the date, and I was like, oh, that was a cool movie. And she was like, that was pedophilia. And here's the funny thing about that movie. The girl I was on the date with was like 4'10". We were the same age, but she was like unnaturally short. So I feel like maybe that's why she was so sensitive about pedophilia.
Oh, absolutely. She's probably gotten it her whole life.
Mm-hmm. We worked together at Roy Rogers,
Which one?
the one in the mall.
No, but I mean, like, there's none in the city. Like, where?
I was in East Brunswick, in New Jersey, in a mall.
Nice.
Do you have a decent amount of familiarity with the Roy Rogers
I
franchise?
would love
I've-
to just rattle
I've-
off Roy Rogers locations.
I mean,
Yeah.
you knew a movie's year and
I'm good with useless info like that. I memorize it all.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I remember thinking that movie was really weird, and then I found out they cut other stuff to make it less pedophilia.
The computer, the audio, I'm having a little issue getting your intro song ready. That's why I'm like.
Okay.
So I'm just
What's the
restarting.
intro song?
It's cool.
It's Nigel.
Dave hates it.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it. No, it's fine. I felt bad that you spent money on it when I could have made one. That's what I felt. I felt bad that you spent money. I don't want you to throw away your precious funds. No, I did. I was like,
But, like, we needed a song. Like,
I could get you a free song.
well, if you want to have an alternate song for breaks, we can do that also.
No, now that you paid for it, I want to use it forever.
Yeah.
Now that you put money in, now we are never going to take a different one.
After I hear the song, can I guess how much you paid for it?
I'd love
Can
that.
I guess too?
Yeah, you can.
I would love that.
Yeah, let's both guess. Like the prices, right?
It was it TaskRabbit?
No,
What was it? Or should we not tell them?
we shouldn't tell them.
Okay. But it's like some site where you pay people to like
Do things. Yeah.
like record stuff for you and stuff.
Yeah.
Like with the same guy is just like, welcome to Conspiracy Corner. Welcome to the world of people who hate men who are clearly my skin color. Well, because it's clearly a black British guy.
Yeah.
Oh, there are words.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it interesting because they're two separate things. Because I had music made and then I also had the voiceover done.
Good God.
Okay, that's going to help my guess.
Just leave that as a hint.
Yeah, now I know there are 2 steps to the process, so that I have to amend my guess.
Hmm.
Can you have that fan on? That doesn't disrupt anything?
It's worth it.
I take it out in editing.
Oh, nice. High pass?
The what?
High pass filter?
Noise reduction.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, trust
Because
me,
it
we're going to
gets
need it.
hot as shit in here.
Last week there was a big problem with heat. So we kind of had to compensate. It's worth it to have the noise.
Yeah.
It was
We're like dying in here.
No, it was like unhealthy last week. It was like I don't know.
Who was the guest last week?
That would have been Joe Conti and Johnny O'Rourke, both Jersey comics. I've known since I started.
Nice.
Both guys who are like old-fashioned Jersey guys in like their 50s.
No.
Like everyone they know is now like a psychotic Trump supporter.
They aren't, or they are?
Everyone they know.
Oh, got it.
They hate Trump.
Yeah.
And they just can't believe because like I think that's the thing with comics. Like a lot of times is all these people, everyone except their comedian friends, because comedians just hate him because we are supposed to look into things.
Yeah.
Could it
exactly.
be like something on our end on this side?
No, maybe.
No, it's because I'm playing for some reason the audio isn't working on the computer, but I'm figuring it out. What we could do is
Just add it later, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I could definitely edit and post. I could edit and post if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh,
Because
okay.
we also
Oh, no
need to
problem.
have the ads drop too.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Then let's. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. We
Okay.
start this.
Yeah, we got ads for studio headphones, for which we were paid a pair of studio headphones.
Are these
Nice.
them?
No, I brought mine home.
Okay, cool.
But yes, we were paid for the ad with the headphones.
How's the product?
Uh,
Can I pee before we start, or
Doesn't
are we
fit in
like
my
starting
phone.
right now?
go ahead.
Okay. Do you have like 2
Oh,
minutes?
you didn't give him shit?
He can't control himself. Look at him.
Can't.
All right. We're ready. To
I mean,
go.
we've only been sitting here for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go over 2 Maurice if you want. So-
No, he
Okay.
can. We could start. He'll just jump in.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. So
We could start.
Ready? 3.
Hey guys, welcome to Blamestorming. I'm Marissa Smith. I've got Dave Cyrus with me.
Hi, I'm Dave Cyrus.
And Dave, who's your friend?
Well, this is Joe Walkowski, and he is one of our guests today. And James Pontillo is urinating, so he will be our guest in just a moment. But hi, Joel. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm already the second most entertaining guest today. I can't compete with urinating.
Yikes.
Good to be here in the beautiful financial district.
We're right next to the World Trade Center. Should we be telling people that? Now they're going to show up and look for us?
We're going to have like a bunch of incels after us.
Right.
Like,
It's going to be a Zuccotti Park situation.
Good for them. Yeah, we're right by the old Trade Center here. That's where we record. And Joel was nice enough to fill in last minute because our other guest, James Mattern, who everyone was expecting to hear today, I'm sure, is sick. So everyone, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I'll say as many babies. I'm wearing a stupid hat right now, so I'm bringing the James Mad Dog Mattern experience as best I can.
He doesn't like Mad Dog anymore. Isn't
Yeah,
that something?
Yeah, but I met him as a Mad Dog, and you can't just like downgrade someone once they're Mad Dog
See,
status.
I met him as Mad Dog, and I introduced him to people. Oh, this is Mad Dog, and he's like, it's James now, and I'm like, the fuck it is.
Yeah, it's like he changed his name. It's like, oh, you're James now. When did you get a family?
Yeah. I don't know who he's trying to impress.
How long has he been James for, though?
A few years.
Oh, really?
James Pontillo is here.
What's up? How you doing?
I was just talking about how we were supposed to have 2 Jameses today, and when James did
Thank
my
God it
movie,
didn't happen.
when James did my movie Archie Black, he was Mad Dog Mattern.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was like 5 years ago. So it definitely wasn't that long ago. And then when I came back to New York, I said Mad Dog, and he was like real, like, hey, it's James now.
Almost like someone was watching him, you know?
Look, he's at a point in his career where, he doesn't want to be the Mad Dog anymore.
Mm.
And it was one word, Mad Dog.
But you would have think that he had brand equity in like Mad Dog, like he was the Mad Dog.
It's very difficult to change your name
Yeah.
midway through your career, as I have done multiple times. It doesn't help because I did like my videos. I meant it as like a character name, but then I started being known as the character's name, the Brick Stone videos.
Right.
So like that was a problem because then I had people being like, "You should be Brick Stone now," and I'm like, I can't do stand up as Brick Stone. Like, you can't give these people an inch.
Well, what if you brought like a member of the Westboro Baptist Church with you?
Yeah.
That would be
Little
nice.
two-man.
I definitely am down with the idea of a two-man show. Someone was recently telling me a story that really disturbed me, and I'm going to tell it again. About this wasn't on the show, about the person who they were a comic who were headlining, and then they had a plant that started banging on the door. So it's like a headlining stage where there's a door on like the side, and someone starts banging on it, and then he ignored it, and then he started banging again, and then he opens the door and he goes, "Oh, everybody, I'm so sorry. This is my brother." And the guy comes out and he's mentally challenged.
Yeah.
And then they have a whole two-man act about the fact that his brother is mentally handicapped. And I said,
Is he actually mentally handicapped, or he's just pretending to be mentally handicapped?
my question was it really his brother? And they were like, no, it's really his brother. He's just not actually handicapped. And I was like, oh my God, that's a million times worse.
Yeah.
It was one thing when he was like, I'm going to pretend this retarded guy's my brother. Now it's like, no, you actually have someone in our face? That is bad.
Yeah.
That is not okay at all. And especially because the act was garbage. You just know there's no way this was a decent stand-up act.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder how that pitch went, though. Hey, I really want to incorporate you into my stand-up, my art. Can you play a retard for me?
Yeah, and he's like, the guy's like, I want in on the business. And it's like, I'm sorry, you're just not good enough to do comedy.
As a regular person.
You have no stage presence, but you do own a hockey helmet.
Yeah. And he's like, remember that time you had that concussion and you were hilarious? Maybe we can do something with that. Yeah, no, there's a lot of... I'm a real connoisseur of terrible comedy. I remember only the worst stand-up I've ever seen.
Yeah.
More than the best. Like, even when I was like a kid, if there was a joke I despised.
Yeah. I mean, there's like certain joys just watching someone bomb miserably for 10 minutes. I love it. I love watching it.
What's your favorite worst joke?
Oh my God.
I remember a guy on TV.
I got to think about that. I'll get back to you.
There's a comic who I remember his act so well, and I don't know why, because I hate it in retrospect. He had one joke where he's like, my grandma's getting old. I remember in the old days, she would be in those supermarkets, and she would get one of those megaphones where you could say like price check, and she would go like, why do birds suddenly appear? But now she's older, and she's like, everybody dance now, and starts like dancing.
Wait, where was this?
This was like on television. This was a stand-up on TV, and he did this for his TV set. And and it's like,
I guess he thought it was a clean 5.
oh my God, was I upset by that? Just there's so much bad. Like, I mean, there's bad
The
jokes.
worst joke for me, I was at a mic, and the person that won the mic was going to get a spot on like a weekend show.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And so like the joke that won was, what's the difference between women and a pair of shoes? Shoes have souls.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
I
I'm sure everyone in the message group loved that one.
was doing this run through like New Orleans, Houston, that area, and we had a show get canceled in Baton Rouge, so we picked up whatever we could. So we picked up a gig in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is podunk town. Good mini golf, that's it. But the opener, he told a joke about how the first time he slept with his wife, she was asleep and didn't know. And so, like,
He raped his wife.
Yeah, the whole audience came to that realization, like, immediately. And he's like, oh, is that wrong? Is it bad?
Oh, man.
I've seen this happen twice. I've seen two different comedians tell very long, very unfunny, very clearly true stories about fucking prostitutes behind their wives' backs. And the audience is just like, just aghast. And it's like,
Yeah.
you get the idea. They're like, no, I'm telling they think that they're going to get points for how truthful they're being.
Yeah.
But one guy, he was like, yeah, I was with my girlfriend and I got a text back from some hooker named, and he's a white guy, a hooker named Chocolate. And my girlfriend was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, it's a hooker named Chocolate. Get it? Because she assumed I'm not that horrible of a human being that I actually am, when in fact I'm a monster. And then the other time, I was at the the host of a show. And you guys know, the host has a little bit more responsibility
Yes,
to
absolutely.
not freak people out. He's telling a story about him and his girlfriend. Are driving in separate cars, and she's following him, or he's following her, and how he's going through an area with hookers, and he purposely started like driving in such a way that he would lose her and make it look like an accident, so that he could then, like, on the way home, have sex with one of the hookers.
Yeah.
Between then and, like it wouldn't take that long. And then and the big punchline was, I didn't have a condom, so I tried to use like a ShopRite bag. And she was like, are you on drugs? And I'm like, you just told a story that basically exposed you as a true monster. And then the big joke at the end was, oh, hooker thought I was on drugs. Well, you kind of act like a man on drugs.
So Joel was talking about that joke where the comic's saying that they raped his wife, but did you guys hear about...
Segue into the news, Marissa.
That's what I'm doing, Dave, if you'd let me. So did you guys hear about Nathan Larson? He's running for Congress in Virginia, and he admits that he raped his wife. He also admits he's a pedophile, and his wife ended up killing herself. And so he was an incel, an involuntary celibate, and ran message boards for incels, and he lost his incel crown by raping his wife.
This guy's also like a insane internet troll.
What are his poll numbers? Was he polling anywhere respectable?
He's not going to win.
Okay.
We hope he's not going to win.
Oh, no.
Roy Moore almost won, and he's a
Yeah.
pedophile.
I mean, this guy is like, he's running on the Trump model. He's actually said that. He's like, I'm crazy. I'm telling it like it is.
Yeah,
But he's also a white supremacist, which is like
Duh.
you kind of forget that like you're just like, oh, he's a pedophile and a rapist. Oh, he's also a white supremacist, which is like
It's the third,
it's like I forget about that part.
And I feel bad for the hardworking white supremacists who are like, oh, we have a pedophile joining our ranks. Like,
Yeah, they can't like that.
that guy is such a jerk. Like, him raping his wife didn't even make the headline of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you had to read the body to find out what a monster he was.
Yeah.
And that his followers were mad about that because he wasn't a virgin anymore.
Yeah.
No, this guy, it's a very weird thing going on. It's like it is exactly what one of the worst downsides of the Trump effect is, which is all crazy people feel like they're
They're
to get
empowered.
they're not just empowered, they're going to get rewarded for how
Yeah.
crazy they can be. And that's a weird thing going on, because like we talked about Roseanne a lot, and that, I don't think we've talked about it much since the big thing happened, but like with Roseanne, like she's showing that how far you have to go for people to like get mad at you. But at the same time, most of her like Trump/Roseanne fans had no problem with what she said.
No. A couple, but most, I'd say 90%.
They were just like, oh, that just wasn't nice, but like she shouldn't get fired for it. But like, I don't understand all the people that are coming out trying to save Roseanne's ass, why those like right-wing Trump people aren't going out saying, oh, we don't think it's a good idea to have a pedophile be running for Congress. I mean, this guy actually wants to pass a law to make incest legal because he feels that it's the right of the father to decide whether or not he wants to rape his children.
Well, he's a troll. He's like a psychotic troll.
I doubt he actually thinks he's going to win or has plans to win.
He knows he's losing. He just is one of these people that it is because of Trump. They're looking at Trump and saying, "Oh my God, you can become famous for just being horrible."
Well, it's interesting because any U.S. citizen could collect enough signatures and get on a ballot somewhere, and then have crazy positions like that and get headlines. I mean, it's not that hard to do. It's pretty interesting, and of course you'll get headlines because it's such a crazy story.
Because we're at a tipping point culturally where
Exactly.
no matter what you do, it's still beneficial to be a bad person and be crazy. Everyone's coming out and being crazy. It's just like what we said last time about that 30-year-old who refused to leave his parents' house. He got to do a news tour, and Alex Jones gave him money.
He was on CNN too.
And it is kind of like there's just niches in entertainment. And it's going down to like the people you surround yourself with. Being an incel pedophile, you have a base now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not isolated like they should be.
Yeah.
Am I wrong to say that I hope his campaign goes well enough that smear ads run against him?
Where do you start?
Yeah.
Could you imagine sitting down and be like, he's got terrible ideas about tax reform, and I'm like, he fucks kids.
Yeah.
Are we really going to get into the taxes?
My opponent is an out pedophile.
It reminds me of one of my favorite SNL sketches ever was Norm Macdonald when he was doing it was during the election when he was playing who was against Clinton in the
Bob Dole?
Yeah, Bob Dole, the 96 election.
Yeah.
And it's him having a dream about an election he can win, and it's him running against Bill Pullman playing himself as the president, playing the president from Independence Day after the events, and every time he'll be like, after defeating the aliens, I have created jobs in corpse removal, corpse rendering, rebuilding houses, and then like everything Bob Dole said would be like, under the previous administration, over 1 billion people were incinerated by aliens. And everything would start with, under the previous administration, 400,000 people were set on fire right in this spot. I love that sketch. I worked there. It just didn't go well. Anyway,
How are the snacks?
terrible.
Really?
Bad snacks.
Oh yeah, actually, that's a thing about SNL that people don't know is that like after the writers' strike of a few years ago, they really cut down on the snacks.
Oh man, that's terrible.
No, dude, I had to pay for coffee.
Oh my
That's
god.
great.
You had to,
Crazy.
if you wanted like real coffee, you had to pay for it yourself.
What?
Definitely violating my NDA right now.
They supply the cocaine though, right?
Yeah,
You would
they
think.
should.
Yeah. No, it's very disappointing to get there and be like, no one's doing coke. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, we can only smoke weed. This is terrible.
That sounds like an awful work environment. I'm
Yeah.
sorry you had to go through that.
I mean,
I know.
I do props on photo shoots, and I eat salmon every day. So
No, I know. Like, well, at SNL, you're there every day. Only about half the days you get like free dinner, and the other half you have to. And then like, yeah, on set if you're like have a sketch, there'll be food downstairs. But like writing days, you only get free food on writing day. You don't get it on rewrite day. You don't get it on rehearsal day. So I'm really giving away the store here.
Yeah.
This is really true. But yeah, on the day you read the sketches, they just have like a spread they put out. So if there's something
Any
there you want
bagels?
to-
How are the bagels?
There's bagels on Saturday,
Nice.
but only because I steal them from Update. I would steal a bagel from the Update desk every Saturday because they're the ones who had bagels. And on Saturdays it's the only day you get free cafeteria.
Oh, nice. How was the cafeteria food?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
just on Saturday.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, it's
So Saturday obviously was the big work day, I would imagine there, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, because I mean,
Saturday Night Live.
'cause you got to
yeah.
get there in time for like the run through, then the rehearsal, then the actual live show, and then the worst part, you have to go to the after party. And that was
every Saturday.
Oh yeah, there's an after party every Saturday till like 5 a.m.
That's awesome,
And then there's
though.
an after party, an after party that's like even later. And like
After 5 a.m.
yeah. And
What
I'm
is it, like 6 a.m.?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
the
like, I
sun-
never want to do this. I literally every time just like I
Do you
can't.
have to, or are you like outed if you don't
You're
go to the
supposed
after party?
You're supposed to go to the after party. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
part of the job. And like I didn't really want
Even
to
the after parties?
No, that's up to you.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say.
mean, if you skip it, you don't get in trouble. But it was one of those things where it's like, I have been here for 12 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to party with my coworkers right now.
I run the comedian basketball game, and I did notice like all the guys from SNL like kind of stink, so they're probably just hungover. So you gave them a bailout there.
Is it on Sundays?
Yeah, it's on Sundays at
I
like
mean-
4 in the afternoon. Like,
Nice.
They just woke up.
yeah. So that explains their game.
The one time
Yeah.
Drake hired a bunch of strippers to play video games at a Dave & Buster's.
Oh, nice.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Drake likes to hook people up. Drake also got Bobby Flay to come make us dinner.
Oh, nice.
That was
What do you make?
Oh, it was amazing. He made these peas that were really good, shrimp.
Nice.
No, it was great. It was great. Everything was great about it except for meeting Bobby Flay.
I only really know. I mean, I never watched his cooking show. I only know him from Entourage.
Bobby Flay?
He does that episode with Ari where he's fucking Ari's wife, and it's like a big deal. But Bobby Flay does seem like he would do that.
Of all the things that you've rattled off knowledge about, the most disturbing is Entourage.
You don't like Entourage?
Of all the shows you should not be proud of knowing the intricate details of. I did watch some of it. but it is like just it's boy.
Yeah, no,
Sex
it seems like it's not
Isn't
very
it just
realistic.
male Sex in the City?
Yeah, it's boy Sex in the City, except for Sex in the City.
But
had
they're in
puns.
Hollywood. That's the funny.
Sex in the City had what?
Puns.
Oh.
Whereas, like, you know what was wrong with Entourage? It's the only comedy show I've ever seen where people say the words, "I'm just kidding."
Yeah, think of it as like a White Ballers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen that
I like
either.
Jeremy Piven in it. I'm a huge fan of his.
He's doing stand-up now.
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
he's
is he
not. I heard
really?
he's not that good.
Really? You
well,
don't say.
the reason you've heard he's not that good is because literally every time he performs, people are watching like, if you have one bomb, I am going to tell everyone. Like, everyone wants him to bomb so bad. So that you just saw like on Facebook, someone's like, I just saw Jeremy Piven suck at a
Oh
bomb.
no, Toby posted about it. How he
Yes.
did a mic with, or did a show with Jeremy Piven, and they both bombed and something
Yes,
like that.
yes.
That's
which-
funny.
I mean, it's funny because like usually a celebrity gets a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if guys have ever been bumped for a celebrity to then give like a long 20-minute story about what it's like to be famous. But I mean, I used to do the Haha Club all the time, and I would get bumped for either Chris Tucker or Sean Wayans all the time there. And both of those guys, it was just like, you're famous enough that you don't really have to do material. You
Yeah.
can just like talk about being on the set, and the whole audience is just like slack-jawed watching you.
Yeah, like it's a phenomenon when they walk in the room. When there's that drop and people see it and it just spreads. It's
Yeah.
amazing to see.
Yeah.
Now, I remember I got bumped for Damon Wayans there once.
Nice.
And he was talking about his son, and this is years ago, before his son was like a famous actor, and just calling him lazy, which was funny.
Uh-huh.
Well, he picked the right profession. Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what else we got? What's
That
going
was,
on? What's going on in the day of the news?
The
What-
day of the news. So,
Yeah.
Wait, did we technically give the pedophile guy some press right now?
We helped him.
Damn it.
We're talking about him, so
Where-
that's the thing.
Where's
But
he
I-
running?
I always involuntarily
Virginia.
help pedophiles, and I did it again.
I
Yeah,
don't
he's
think
always
it's helping.
fixing
I
bands.
feel like people need to be like pissed off about it. Like I just don't understand why there's like no like
I'm
real
pissed.
like outrage about it. Like people are more upset about Samantha Bee than they are of the fact that like this guy's running for Congress.
That's like also they don't take him seriously. They're also just like,
Yeah.
he's a ridiculous racist, pedophile, rapist. It's almost like so much that people are just like, do we even really need to care? Because it's not like a sitting
But like,
senator
how is he not in
came
jail
out.
though? Like why is?
Well,
he
how is he? What is?
And that's the other thing is that he spent 14 months in jail because he threatened to kill Obama, and then I guess the governor of Virginia had passed some law that if you
Threatened
or-
to kill Obama, it's okay.
But probably. It's like if you do like I think less than like 18 months and you're non-violent, then you get your like all of your rights back. But like that's like he shouldn't even be able to run, and he should be in prison. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to speculate that his wife probably killed herself because he was molesting their kid.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? The guy obviously has a lot of demons, and it's just one of those things where it's like it's so ridiculous that people like don't even want to talk about it. I mean, I'm assuming is he running as an independent?
Yeah,
think-
he is running as an
Yeah, I think also
He's a
feel,
burning
stories
bread.
like that just make people feel bad. That's why the media doesn't cover it that much.
It's just like he's also kind of no one.
Yeah.
So I get why people don't care, because the whole point of this is he thinks it's like, oh, I'm gonna get attention just because I learned that.
Yeah, the more-
But I
for
think
anything
that's what's
bad.
more dangerous is that people don't know who this guy is, and if they're like, you know, a Bernie bro that's like, oh, I'm an independent, and they don't know who this guy is, and he's the only independent running, it's like, well, I'm just gonna vote for the independent because I'm an independent guy.
I'm sure they'd look at his policy. I don't know what his policy positions are, but
I
I'm sure they'd look-
assume most Bernie bros are doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like a specific problem we have. I mean, I think that I think they're more likely to vote for at least Green Party over the pedophile.
But if they don't know he's a pedophile, then
I'm just saying
you know.
they might vote for. I mean,
That's
there's not
where
gonna
the
be just-
smear ads come
he's
in
not
that
gonna
Joel
be
was talking about.
He's not going to be the only independent either.
And, you know, within any social community, like, there is a higher structure. So, like, among the pedophiles, he's the one who's, like, really taking their issues. So the other pedophiles are like, oh, this guy's taking
Wow.
care of us.
Yeah, he's definitely
Also-
got like the baby touchers.
Can we at least give him credit for having the decency for once to look like a pedophile?
Yeah.
Like, at least he's not one of these guys that you're surprised. You see his picture and you're like, oh, good God.
Yeah, he definitely looks creepy.
And I'm against, like, government surveillance, but let's let him run. And then every vote that is cast for him will track them. And then we'll get a search warrant for their computers.
That's actually a good idea. We should be paying attention
Sting
to
operation.
everyone he's working with. I mean, of all the politicians to be breaking into their email,
Yeah.
finally
Yeah.
someone I think we'd agree with.
Russia,
no-
if you're listening.
Yeah, but this guy is just, he's he's doing what a lot of these crazy people are doing, which is they see Trump on screen. He's clearly mentally ill, and they're saying, I can grab some power off of this. And it's really important that we do slap these people down, that we can't create a situation where this is normal. Where
Right.
because that's what's happening in the midterms. All these crazy people are running. Alex Jones people are running. People who believe in psychotic shit
Yeah.
because they all see Trump as an opportunity. And it's going to be part of what drags him down, because when people start seeing the results of this and what another person who's close to Trump is like. I mean, there's that guy riding around in a truck, in a bus he's calling it the deportation bus.
Yeah,
And it
there's
says-
2 of them.
and the bus says on the side, warning, this bus is filled with rapists, child molesters,
But not the guy
murderers."
running in Virginia, not that guy, but other rapists and pedophiles.
So he's specifically calling everyone being deported a pedophile. And then Samantha Bee pointed out, well, right now, you're the only one on the bus
Right.
that says rapist on board. So that's a good point.
Well,
she made.
yeah, I mean, the main difference, I think, between Trump and all these people is the amount of money he has. I mean, that's really the only thing separating. That's why people who do take him seriously, I think, because he's a billionaire.
And-
Otherwise, he'd just be another crazy person. That's the only difference. I
They're
could think of.
authoritarians.
Yeah,
They worship-
exactly.
They worship anyone with money. and
Exactly. That's the only difference between him and these people.
because he's crazy.
That's why I don't think a lot of these people you're talking about will do well in the election, just because.
I don't think they're going to win. I
Yeah,
think things are
exactly.
gonna go
Trump won
badly.
because of his money.
I hope they don't
It's- he
win, but
seemed-
we also didn't think Trump was going to win, and we see how that turned
No,
out.
I thought he had a chance. I thought.
Well, Trump took advantage of a lot of people in this country's desire to destroy the country. They just wanted to use him as a weapon against
Mm-hmm.
common society. They wanted him to
But
destroy
they
everything
still
out of
want to
anger.
destroy the country.
Yeah, but fuck them. These people are just. I think that they're getting fatigued too, because
Yeah.
I talk to Trump supporters a lot. They know they're lying. They know they're full of shit, and they feel trapped. And I don't think these people are going to hold this up forever.
Yeah, and people don't like to admit they're wrong either.
I mean, hopefully they just OD from opioids.
Well, I think the more dangerous problem is that when Trump finally goes down, I think we might have a mass shooter problem. I know that sounds weird. I know that sounds like a crazy
we
thing
don't
to
have
say.
one now.
I think we're going to have a specific one over his impeachment.
Oh,
I think that the kinds of people who shoot up a school are probably
Trump supporters.
I'm not saying all Trump supporters are like that, but I think that when you have millions of people, some of these
he's
people
saying
are
you're saying a
extremely-
different, not a school shooting, but just a mass shooting problem.
I think that there
Well-
are going to be some people who think that this is a reason to go out with a blaze.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are so emotionally invested in him that they can't, and they're already people who are mentally ill.
Yeah.
I'm very afraid of what's going to happen with those people when they feel like they've lost everything.
I'm like 50-50 with it, because I understand what you mean, that most of his supporters are crazy. And he does have the backing of like the white supremacists and the white nationalists and these separatist militia groups, but most of them don't believe in the government, and being the president, he's like the head of the government now. So I don't know that they're going to trust him any more than they would trust the government to begin with.
Oh, no, they trust him implicitly.
Yeah.
The crazy people trust him because they see themselves in him. And they see him as a weapon against the government because they resent the structure of it. They resent the professionalism behind the government. They see it as an affront to them.
Yeah,
and
but
their
he's still
inability.
not doing things that he told them that he would. Like
They think
the
he is.
wall
But he's
is
giving
not
off. But he's giving off the illusion that he
They
is with
believe
the
he
wall.
is, and they believe anything he says.
like the only thing he's doing right now is really separating parents from their children.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of his major supporters didn't really care about the policy issues. They just liked him. They just liked some of the stuff he said. He's still saying the same stuff he's been saying.
Yeah,
Well,
it's cult
it was.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think
Cultish.
I don't think it was really policy stuff that drew people
I
to
think
him.
people were behind him for the wall, health care, and tax reform. And
I don't know as much about healthcare.
well, because he said that he was going to repeal and replace Obamacare, and that
Yeah, but I don't know.
happened.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that's why people like loved him. His supporters, though, I think
A
it
lot
was
of
just.
people
I
said
think it was
that
the. I
was-
think the immigration issue is the real one that
And I
got
think-
people going crazy for him.
I think people are silly, and they saw someone who they've seen on television for 3 decades.
Yeah, that's
and
the thing. He
decided,
was
like,
so well known before politics. That's like.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and he wouldn't. You didn't. A lot of people didn't think of him as crazy before he started running.
And
And
but
So
And the fringe really hasn't is always been present like this in American life. It just hasn't had anything to really galvanize behind
Exactly.
since like Waco in Oklahoma City. So
Right.
right now we're communicating faster than we ever have in human history. So these people are being drawn out and drawn into a furor.
And we have a problem specifically, a furor, good. We have a problem specifically with emotionally erratic people, and they're drawn to him because they trust him, because he's an erratic, emotional, mentally ill person. All these people see him as protecting them, and they see him like it's like a fire starting. These people are fucking frenzied, and they look at him as this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow of the idea that, oh, you can be like this and it works.
Right.
And these people their whole lives have just been mad at society for telling them not to act this way, not to act crazy, not to just believe things that aren't true.
Yeah, it's totally beyond a political thing because they're willing to go after Republicans who oppose Trump. I mean, it's not, like establishment Republicans who go after Trump they're willing to turn on. I mean, it purely is about him. It's not, I don't think it's ever been about...
This is about crazy-eyed,
exactly.
cultish worship of him like a god.
Yeah.
That's why evangelicals are so willing to abandon their beliefs for
Principle,
him.
yeah.
Because he's replacing Jesus for them.
Yeah.
He really is. The evangelicals who support Trump are letting him replace Jesus as who
You've
they
met
are.
him. You've met Trump, right?
Yeah. And I think that's exactly what happened. They just want a daddy.
Yeah.
They want a powerful man to just control everything, let them take their hands off the wheel and feel protected. And they're willing to believe lies to have that feeling inside them.
Yeah, and like it's hard to be a working person in America. I think we're the first generation who's going to earn less than our parents. So if you're like a struggling person in Missouri, Michigan, where I'm from, and this guy comes in talking like mad game, you're going to like adopt him as a heroic figure.
Yeah, it's really weird just seeing how many people don't recognize a con man. And I don't know how that happened. That was the one thing that everyone was really surprised by. We thought even Republicans recognized what an obvious con man looks like. And everyone...
But I think it's what he's saying. I think a lot of people felt like they didn't have anything to lose anyway, so it didn't bother them as much.
Well, that's...
And it's so hard not... Like, him having his business ties as, like, part of his, like, functioning government is crazy. Like, he's had a grudge against the NFL for 40 years, dating back to like not having ownership. He bankrupted other leagues to like get back at the NFL, and now it's this hot button, totally distraction issue that's like been in our dialogue for 15 months.
Yeah,
Right.
He's obsessed with people fighting. His entire political philosophy is chaos and anger, and people hate each other. It's the same thing Putin is. He's like Putin, except without the intelligence.
Yeah.
He just wants to create a sense of fear because that's the only world where people look at him like he's making sense. If you're not afraid, you look at this guy and you recognize how crazy he is. But if you're like frenzied, or if you're drunk or on opiates, you don't recognize how obvious it is that this guy is a raving lunatic con man.
Yeah, and his agenda and like constant like engagement is kind of feeding the culture war. Like a leader would be trying to quell the situation and bring both sides together, but here he is just trying to build his own celebrity.
Right. He wants people to hate the NFL. He wants everyone hating each other. He wants the exact same thing that Russia wanted during the election. Get people to be more angry with each other because that creates the world as we want it to be. And the scary thing is, most of human history, people have been horrible.
Right.
The vast majority, people, if you're born into an evil society, you will adapt to and you'll become like it.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean... We've only recently become a species that doesn't execute people like in a town square as a means of like entertainment.
Yeah.
We are so screwed as a species.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like at the same time, this is probably like the most advanced we've been in human history. Like being empathetic and understanding other people is a dialogue, and I don't know if that was necessarily the case going back.
Yeah, no, that's exactly true, and that's kind of the world that these people are fighting against. I mean, Trump supporters, the wall is the wall against the future. Their whole thing is they hate the future. They want the past to come back.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the world exactly as it was when they were 5.
Yeah.
And we're living in a really, really dangerous time when people are willing to believe whatever they want. And that's why...
And that's
Well,
why
that's-
this thing's
that's-
so frustrating, too. It's like even going back with the NFL thing and Roseanne. So you have all of these Trump people that are like, oh, it's horrible that ABC is going to fire Roseanne because of one tweet. That's horrible. But then at the same time, they're well, if a football player wants to kneel during the anthem, then they need to leave the country.
Did you see what Sarah Sanders' answer was for the very obvious question of, well, why is one a free speech issue and not the other? And she says... The president thinks it's not about free speech, it's about respecting the troops. I like how Sarah Sanders is so angry all the time because the subtext of every single thing she says to the press corps is, I know he's lying. Stop making me say
Well,
it.
she's
always saying, she's like, I know he's lying. Stop making me repeat the lie.
But
Why don't you just give me a break, everybody?
But that's gotta be.
I'm
But
trying hard.
she has such a hard job making everything he says seem rational and normal. Like, I mean, that's
she's
a
a
tough
monster.
job.
What she's doing is evil.
Well, I mean, the troops and the police, they've been built up as these totems where you can't even criticize them
Yeah.
at all without being labeled a pariah. Like, just entering into that dialogue is heresy to a large swath of the country.
Yeah.
Right.
And, like, Trump's leading this whole national anthem debate, but this video came out, like, 2 days ago of him not knowing the words to God Bless America.
Right, because he's so patriotic. But kind of to your point about criticizing the police, we have that girl that was, believe she was in Jersey over Memorial Day weekend,
Yeah.
and the
You
she was
mentioned this,
asleep.
right?
Yeah, she was asleep on the beach, and I guess she had, I don't know if the containers were open or closed, but she
The
had
containers
alcohol.
were closed.
Closed.
She had closed containers of alcohol by her.
Okay.
And the video came out of someone on their phone taking video of a cop punching her on the ground.
Mhm.
And everyone was really upset. And that cop obviously was wrong. That cop should not have been beating that young girl on the beach.
Yeah.
However,
She was underage.
well, that's that.
No, that's not a big
No,
part
I get
of it.
that. Have you guys seen the dash cam video? I mean, not the dash cam, the body
Yeah.
cam video from
Yes.
before that other video started? She took a swing at a cop.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm sorry.
No, it's
The
always-
cop can be wrong also, but this idea that this woman is acting like she's some kind of purely a victim,
Yeah.
like she's some hero. She was in an interview today, and they're like, well, why did you fight the cop? Why didn't you just fight this in court later? And she goes, I can't answer that because it was in the moment. That's what a fucking crazy person says.
So she was blackout drunk. Yeah.
Oh, no. I thought she passed the breathalyzer. She wasn't
Oh, did
drunk.
she?
But
Oh, I
that's
didn't
not
know
the
that
point.
part. Yeah.
It was still maybe illegal for her to have out
Yeah.
alcoholic beverages. Maybe that's wrong, and she shouldn't have been prosecuted for it. But you see the video, it's her squaring up with a cop,
Yeah.
screaming at a cop, getting her arms ready like she's ready to throw hands, and then she does. And the second she puts her hands on the cop throws her down. Now,
Yeah.
the cop did not need to punch her. The cop should have used
Yeah.
as little force as necessary. But seriously.
But he could have used the same argument.
What-
He was in the moment.
What
and-
the fuck do you think is going to happen when
no,
you
I
throw
agree.
hands at a cop? You know what's going to happen.
Well,
This is a privileged white girl who felt like she could scream at the cop and say, I don't have to take anything.
Well, that's
I-
another thing. Part of the video too is in the video. She's like, "You can't do this to me. I'm not like a fucking nigger." And
Wait,
like,
what?
She said that? I
Yeah,
didn't hear
Whoa,
that.
whoa.
I didn't hear that
Wait,
part.
really?
Yeah, that's also in the video.
Oh, I'm
hear-
so happy that
I
I,
didn't
said
hear
this
that
now.
part.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, she
Well,
really
that's
said
funny 'cause-
that?
Yeah, no, it's like that was part of the whole, like, that's the reason why a lot of people, like, didn't, you know, not to be the black delegation, but a lot of people.
Sorry, everyone. Marissa is black.
Yeah.
I know you can't tell from her voice.
You haven't said it in like 3 weeks. I was so proud of you.
Well, your last name's Smith. It's hard to tell.
Well, you dropped an N-bomb, so it's good that was cleared up.
Yeah. But so like yeah, so that's like reason why like a lot of people weren't really or people of color or Black Lives Matter or like that kind of thing didn't get behind this is because in the video she's like, you can't treat me like this. I'm not a fucking nigger. Like you can't treat me like that. Blah blah blah.
It's a pretty weird thing to
And-
say in the
Yeah.
moment to a cop. Because
Yeah.
in that moment, your heart is racing. You're not overthinking anything you say. If you say the N-word in that moment, you're the kind of person who says the N-word.
Yeah.
Like, it means it's on the tip of your tongue. No one.
Yeah. Well, I
Most
got-
people aren't going to slip and say it in conversation.
Right.
But honestly, this is what pisses me off because I see this all the time. I see video of man gets beaten by cops for jaywalking.
Yeah.
And then you see the video, and
Yep.
it's a man jaywalking, and a cop saying, "Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
That's illegal. I'm going to give you a ticket." And then the guy throws a swing at the cop. That is not
Yeah.
a guy getting
Yeah.
beaten up for jaywalking.
Right.
Yeah.
It's because he took a swing at a fucking cop, or if he
Yeah.
walks away from the. If you refuse to accept a ticket, because I've seen that too. People are like, no, fuck you, and they just don't. They put
Yeah.
their hands up and say, I'm not going to take this ticket. Where do you think that's going to end? Do you
Yeah.
really think that we
Just
live in
fight
a
it
world
in
where the
court.
cop is going to just say, okay, you can go? Because if you did that, every person on earth would do it.
Yeah. And then there'd just be lawlessness.
Because I want police reform. I want a lot of it, but you're not going to get there by misleading people about
Well-
saying you can just talk shit to a cop and throw your hands up at him and nothing's going to happen to you.
Oh, I think every cop should have a body cam. I think that should just be mandatory.
Oh, no,
and then there will be no,
But they should be allowed to
one-
turn it off in case they feel like it.
I
No.
also feel like I wish she also wasn't such a piece of shit anyway, though, because like one, she had a prior for burglary and like
She's like 19, right?
yeah. And so like I can't even remember. I think it was like burglary.
Breaking into Claire's.
But, I don't know.
No, this chick had problems.
Yeah,
this
she-
chick needed to learn. You don't throw hands at a cop, but you know what? She was already a felon, so maybe she doesn't. There's something she doesn't understand about this world.
Right, and I kind of feel like she would have been a good opportunity to have a face put on police brutality that people would actually listen to. Cute white girl, young. They should be like, oh my god, the police beat me up, and people would have listened to it. But like, she's just such a piece of shit that you're just kind of like, okay.
We always have this thing where people are like, people will say like, there's never a reason why a cop should get physical with someone who's not armed. You don't know that. Come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
I think that they were excessive, but at the same time,
no,
like,
that
you
cop
know.
should not have been. No, that cop did not need to hurt her that way. He
Right.
did not need to do that. Two people can be wrong in this situation.
Yeah.
But she needed to be taken down. She needed to be
I think
stopped.
she-
You don't get to throw a swing at a cop.
She was definitely more wrong, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
just based on what she said and just the action she took for sure.
There are so many people being wrongfully beaten by cops
Yeah.
that we don't need to lionize this woman.
Right. You know, I kind of feel like there was a missed opportunity to be able to open up a conversation, but you know, hopefully the next time a cute white girl gets beat by a cop, she won't be a piece of shit.
Well, there's a greater problem here. When did people forget about paper bags?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know to not have open containers or even
I always
have it
use
open?
paper
You're on the
bags.
beach. Who doesn't know to have a paper bag?
Gotta,
Put your shit in a cozy. You don't know you can just put vodka in a Sprite bottle? What is wrong with these
I've
people?
always been a
I-
proponent of
This
paper
is
bags.
about irresponsibility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buy a nutcracker, support the local beach economy. Like, Budweiser doesn't need any more money.
Or you
That's
get one of
true.
those like coolers that keeps your drink real cold. I mean, I always fill those with a margarita before I hit the beach.
The cop's not going to stop you if you're just like drinking out of a refilled like lotion bottle.
What was
They
she
don't care.
drinking, by the way? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
They just know she wasn't drinking. She just I mean, she
had
was going to
alcohol
be.
out,
She
yeah.
had alcohol out, and that it wasn't open. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can definitely make the argument she shouldn't have been ticketed. But the truth is, no, you argue that in court.
The only
Yeah.
thing I feel bad about is all this happened in front of her kid. Like,
I thought she was underage.
She is.
Yeah, she is. But she also I think has like
Why
a
do you find it hard to believe that the underage felon who threw a swing at a cop has a kid?
Yeah.
What part of that doesn't make sense to you?
Well,
Well, how old was the kid?
I think like 14
four-
months or something like
I was
that.
going to say 14.
Ah.
14.
No, like,
Well, no, yeah, but I mean,
Well,
it's not like
that's-
the kid's gonna remember it.
I don't know. It's still it's
I thought it
really
was-
Someone had to
traumatizing.
pick the kid up.
Yeah.
Like the kid was like right
The
there.
ironic thing was a black guy that picked the kid up while the cops were beating her up while she's just like,
Did they ever find it?
like
Did they find the kid? Is the kid okay?
the kid's
Now I'm
prob-
scared. now I'm terrified. What happened to this kid? Did they get it back? All right. No. Like I said, I hate it when people take the part about refusing to accept the arrest
Yeah.
in consideration of how this happened. It doesn't matter how it started. The second you throw your hands at the cop, bad things are going to happen. And that doesn't mean that it should happen, but like, who the fuck doesn't know that? Who is out there being like, well, I think you were right to take a swing at that cop. I think you made
And
the
she
right
wasn't
decision."
drunk. That's the craziest
look,
part.
A lot of cops, maybe most cops.
she passed a breathalyzer. She wasn't drunk. She might have been other things.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. You can also pass a breathalyzer when
a
you're not.
breastalizer.
You can pass a breathalyzer when you're not
Nice.
like completely shit-faced. When you're
Yeah.
kind of a little drunk anyway.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
pass it. But you see, we all see these.
Yeah.
No one is ever going to be like, if I had to do it again, I'm glad I shoved the cop and refused to take the
Yeah.
ticket. Like, it's never going to work out. You have a problem if you can't think through. And when she said, I can't say why I didn't do it because it was in the moment, like, that means you have a very serious mental problem.
Yeah.
You have a rage problem.
And who knows? Then who knows what else she does in the moment? Then like using that as an excuse.
I just
mean,
feel like
that's
there's so
just-
many black people who are just being like shot for nothing.
Yeah.
That it's like, why do we have to see another case where the people on the cop's side are going to be like, see, they
Yeah,
didn't do any.
And
Yeah.
she's so upset, but I believe an open container is a $25 fine.
Yeah.
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 And it wasn't even an open container. Like she just had the whatever beer or whatever just sitting out on her beach blanket.
Yeah, and this is someone who just emotionally couldn't handle the situation.
But
And-
I mean, you've got like Sandra. Going back to your point, you have like Sandra Bland, who was in her own car smoking a cigarette, and she didn't put her cigarette out in her own car, and that's the reason why she was arrested and ended up dead in her cell. But
Yeah.
this chick can go, beating up cops on the beach, being underage drunk, being like, I'm gonna
Well,
sue.
she got beaten.
She got
for it.
beaten up, so
Yeah.
like she
she's
could
not dead.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not a case of the
But
cops
she's
being
not
lenient.
dead.
This is. I mean, she could have been,
But she's not.
But I mean,
I get what
she
she's saying.
could
yeah.
have. Who knows what could have happened when you start getting into a fist fight with cops? The cops could kill you. Look, a lot of cops out there look for reasons, look for excuses. That's the thing. You have to teach kids that, like, no matter how much you want police reform, also remember, like, I knew a cop who told me this story once, where some drunken, shirtless guy was like swinging his hands at people at like when the bars were letting out, and the cops came to try to calm him down, and the guy refused, and I think he started throwing things at the cop.
Yeah.
And in that moment, the cop was saying, he goes, "This was the first time in my career that someone had done enough for the threshold of me tasing him."
Yeah.
And the thing is, he said, the way he described it, he was like, "Oh, as soon as he threw it, man, oh, I knew."
Yeah.
I took my taser out and I backed up because the further away you are, the more it hurts
Yeah.
with a taser. The further away you are, the more electrical current goes through them because the longer the line.
Yeah.
And that he was like, and just watching, just like he'd been waiting for this.
Yeah.
And then like the guy's tasing the ground, and he goes, the cop was like, and I was like, he was acting like doing like an end zone dance, and his boss was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, no, cops live for this shit. Like, my dad was NYPD for.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was NYPD for like 25 years, and I remember, I think I was in 9th or 10th grade because I wasn't driving yet, but like me and my friend, we were going to this other town's fair. And so these kids, like teenage boys, probably around like 15, 16, they were getting in a fight and they're like pushing and shoving each other. And my dad, being the cop, he's got to walk over there. He's like, "Hey, kids, knock it off." And so this one kid puts his hand in his hoodie. It was like one of those like little kangaroo pouches in the front. And he's like, "Oh, step away, old man. I got something for you." And my dad's like, "Oh, you have something for me? Get on the ground." And then he's like, "Fuck you, old man." So then my dad pulls out his Glock in the middle of the fair, points at the kid's head, and like my friend's like, "Maris, your dad's got a gun at that guy's head." I'm like,
So?
I'm like, "Dad."
That's totally reasonable,
And I'm
though.
like, "Dad, stop." I'm like, "Mom, make him
He's
stop."
100% right to do that.
You
So
can't
now,
threaten- yeah.
so like now the kid is pissing his pants. Now the other cops from the town come over because my dad's not from, like, he's not a cop in this town.
Yeah.
He's NYPD.
Was he in uniform?
No, he was taking us to the fair. So like, then like these other cops now have their gun on my dad because my dad's got the gun on this kid, and my dad's like, "It's all right, guys. I got my badge, NYPD," and he pulls out his badge from his neck because they're like now they're pointing their guns
Yeah.
at my dad's head, and so like my mom is like, "Will, like you're off the clock. Like, what are you doing?" And so then they're like, "Oh, okay, sorry, Sarge, we got this." And so now all three of them have their guns pointed at this one kid. He's like crying. My friend is shaking. She's like, "Oh my God." Like literally they're all just like, "Haha, this one thought he said he had something for this old man. Like had something for him." And so they went and they looked in his pocket. It was literally like a pack of Twizzlers.
I'm
Yeah,
100%
but
on your dad's
yeah, no, but you
I'm
can't say that to a
100%.
cop.
That
you can't threaten
anyone who goes around
You can't
pretending
threaten.
to have a gun and threatening people deserves to
Threatening
have
a
their
cop.
fucking head cracked. I'm sorry.
Threatening a cop?
I'm really liberal.
But he didn't
I
know
want
that
that
he
kid
was
to have
a
his
cop.
fucking head cracked because
It doesn't
people
matter.
who go around intimidating others, using force against people, trying to instill fear in others.
Yeah.
Bullies like that deserve to have a fucking gun pulled on
Yeah.
them. Anyone who's pretending to have a gun on them can go fuck themselves.
That's a feel-good
honestly.
story.
I don't give a shit about this kid. That's a kid who needed to have a moment of fucking weeping in the middle of a fair. That kid is a better person now.
I
hopefully.
hope.
That's exactly the lesson he needed.
I'm on your dad's side, but just because I'm a big Red Vine guy. It is easy. Like, the cops do react with, like, some force. Like, I was in college. I was 19. I was dumb. Me and my buddy, we saw a cop car, and we were like, let's run from it.
Which is legal.
You can
That
do
is
that.
100%
But you
legal.
weren't doing anything
I
wrong.
remember that in law class, but go on.
But I ran from it, and they chased us down, and, like, I didn't know what to do, so I, like, panicked. I hid, like, along a house, and, like, I got cornered. I had, like, 9 guns, like, pointed at me.
Yeah.
And they're
What
like,
were you
what are you
doing?
doing? We were literally like, we thought we could run from you. And it is like, that's just a bad white privilege story.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, that is something I remember from class, is 100% legal. It is not probable cause. They cannot arrest you for doing that. They'll still chase you. It's like,
Yeah.
they'll still check your pockets.
I've never done this before. I'll try it out. Not fun.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
I
like
mean-
fun.
I was detained for like 6 hours once.
Boy.
So I was with my my boyfriend from college, and we had my dad's old police shirts from the 70s, and we were going to a rave. And so I'm wearing stomps. We're both wearing my dad's old police shirts. He's in a Cougar two-door car or whatever. And I saw the cops behind us, and it was like one of these things where it's like the street is like a dead end in front of you. You have to make a right turn, but he didn't use his signal. And I'm like, you got to use your signal. There's cops behind us. He's like, oh, the only thing I could do is drive into the wall. I don't need to put my signal on. Soon as he turns, doesn't have the signal, like, boop, boop. So, like, now the cops come, and they've got the flashlights in the car. They ask him to step out of the car, and then they just started cuffing him. And so then they came back to me, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, sir, like, what's the problem here? And they're like, well, there were two people fitting your description that robbed a 7-Eleven.
1976.
Like, and I'm like, we're wearing, like cop shirts from, like, 1977. And he's like, well, they were impersonating a police officer. And I'm like, you realize I'm wearing a hot pink vinyl skirt. I've got foot-tall stomps on, and I'm wearing a wig. Like, they looked like this. Like, they look like 21 Jump Street. And so, because we were, like, 18 at the time.
Vice Squad.
Like, so like then they brought us back to the station, and they separated us, and then they were trying to like get me to admit that he made me rob this store, and they were trying to get him to admit that I made him rob the store. And then finally I was like, I just want to talk to your captain. And so it's just like, oh, like you don't need to talk to my captain. I'm like, listen, either give me a lawyer or cut us. I can't stay here anymore. And so he's like, oh, give you a lawyer or cut you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, my dad's NYPD, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to call my dad, and you guys do not want to deal with him. And they're just like, oh, yeah, okay. So, like, goes and he gets the captain. And so I told the captain, he's like, oh, who's your dad? And I tell him my dad. And he's like, oh, yeah.
He knew who your dad was?
Yeah, like, my dad
That's
is,
bad.
yeah.
That's bad if he knows him by name.
Yeah, like they knew him.
I mean, he's
And-
going to see him again.
And so then he was just like, yeah, I'll let you call. And I was just like, and it was like, and I really don't, I'm not even really, I have like no relationship with my dad, but it was like my one time where I'm like, Daddy, and then they said I was a criminal, and then they put cuffs on Zach, and I've been sitting here, and then they called me a piece of shit. Here, talk to him. And I was just like this to the guy, and like all years, yes, sir, no, sir. I didn't know, sir. My head is not up my ass, sir. No, sir. And you just like, and just see this guy's face getting redder and redder. And I was just like, can you bring us back to the car, please? Thank you. But it was like one of the first times I understood white privilege, because I had
Yeah.
like blue privilege.
Let me ask you a question. Your dad, growing up with your dad as a cop, is that why you only date white guys?
Part of it.
I literally meant that.
Like,
Because you've talked about how black cops still hate black people.
yeah,
Like how black cops, that's the disappointing thing. It's not a white cop problem. All cops.
yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
too, they're forced to police. Like, if you look, like, a lot of the New York City police agenda is doing, like, low-level law enforcement in black areas.
I pretty much will date anyone that does not remind me of my father in any way, shape, or form. Like looks, career, like stature, you just cannot remind me of my dad.
Oh, good for you. That's healthy. That is better than the alternative.
James,
Yeah.
you're white and have no power.
Yeah. Nice.
He's too
I thought that's
tall.
what she was implying, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah.
Footsie under the table? All
We'll
right.
talk after this, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, look, I want a lot of police reform. I really want it. I feel like everyone.
Well, it's not going to happen with Trump. I mean, Trump is
Well,
so.
no.
I mean, he's
No.
like outwardly pro police brutality. He says it.
Yeah.
I
Speaking
mean,
of Trump, let's talk about this is a little on the subject. He just commuted the sentence of that great grandmother because Kim Kardashian asked him to.
Yeah.
And first, we're just seeing like just how much of a blatant star fucker Trump is, and
It's
how.
just- yeah.
But that's it's also a tokenism thing. It's look, I pardoned Jack Johnson, and that woman Kanye's wife asked me to, so obviously everything else I do about black and brown people doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like I was actually a little surprised he did it because, but I think his fans are like they don't care about one black person being free if they think it helps him.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was But the thing is, what he's not going to do is make any difference in law enforcement related to why she was
No.
in jail. He's not going to go around saying we need to prevent other people like
Yeah.
this. He's going to just get rid of the one who Kim Kardashian asked him nicely to.
Right.
And law enforcement did get kind of militarized after 9/11, and now that things are a little bit quieter, like they have all this training, and these measures haven't been scaled back at all. Like,
No.
Right.
your average town of 100,000 people has like tanks.
Yeah,
For
they
what
got
reason?
Well, I
they got all these military surplus now, and they're
Yeah.
dying to use it.
Well, just at Penn Station now, there were 4 cops with machine guns. Like, why do you machine guns like with the SWAT uniforms?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks
See,
like a militarized
Here's the thing.
country, and
I'll
it's
say this,
crazy.
though. That doesn't bother me as much.
It's not even like it's
Penn
just
Station. Because I worked at Rockefeller Center, and we
Yeah.
had guys with M16s.
Hmm.
I would kind of rather them be there.
okay.
Because I knew that I was working at a place that was a target.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that.
Okay.
I honestly don't. If those cops are responsible and they don't have any reasons to not be there, that doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah.
It's this small town paramilitary shit
Yeah.
where you have these like small town sheriffs who are getting all this extra budget and to just buy stuff and then
It's
they're
like no
dying
one
to
even-
use.
Americans don't even know this town exists. Like, no one's gonna bomb you guys. Like, they don't
Yeah.
give a shit about your little podunk town. It's like they're gonna bomb L.A., New York, Chicago. Like, they're not gonna like bomb like Nowheresville in Illinois.
Yeah, I don't mind a guy with a machine gun in an airport. You're kind of like, I want you there. I want to make sure
yeah.
we can handle something if it happens. But that's not the issue. It's these. They have what we really need is we need like volunteer supervillains to give these people something to do,
Yeah.
so that they can go around. They can have something that these weapons are actually appropriate for.
Yeah, but now the police side has been like really rallied, and like the Blue Lives Matter is just fueling this thing. Like the response to the death of like black people is to rally around the cops. So it's just
Yeah.
getting more and more.
Well, because they take it personally. Every time a cop kills an unarmed black kid, all the people who are on that side of politics see it as a personal attack because they're so used to being called racist. They're so used to being like accused of things that a lot of them are.
Well, like, even going back to my dad, so, like, my dad was also in street crimes for a long time, and he'd almost get shot by other cops, like, almost daily. Like, just because they just assumed that he was
Yeah.
a criminal, not that he was actually undercover in their own squad. And so, like, you know, there'd been plenty of times where, like, you know, like, my dad's coming home and he's like, well, I had to use the color again because, like, they have, like, each team has, a safe word, basically, that, like, if they get in a situation, this whole team knows that this is the safe word and, like, oh, this person's in my team, like, don't shoot this guy.
A joke that I pitched to Triumph once, because we had a thing where we were putting out fake ads from Trump of things he wanted to do, and like we would show these to people. One of them was porta potties outside Home Depot, where like immigrants would wait for work. That the porta potties would then be locked from the outside and then shipped to Mexico. And we showed these to Trump supporters,
Yeah.
who of course
Loved it.
loved them.
Yeah.
None of them could tell it was fake. Like, that was the amazing thing. My idea was I wanted to have a thing where, and I don't know if anyone else has done this since, but what I was pitching was the idea of encouraging all black people to start wearing completely see-through clothing. Where like it's all like you have to wear like cellophane clothes, and
Yeah.
and they're just like, now no one will get hurt. We'll all know that they're not holding a gun.
Well, that's like what didn't they propose something like that at Parkland, like the see-through backpacks?
Right,
Yeah.
they later did that. Right, the see-through backpack,
Which is
That's what I was
insane.
thinking,
Which
yeah.
is just crazy.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
like a retail thing, though. Like, every major department store, the employees have to wear see-through, like, backpacks and
Do they
bags.
really?
You know how
Yeah.
easy it is to just hide a gun in a see-through backpack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just put it in between stuff.
It's almost there just as a punishment for them wanting change.
yeah.
But we should take a quick break,
Yes.
and we'll be right back.
Fine.